Welcome back to the Shuffle Squad. Zach Lesage here. Today we're going to be covering over the top 10 best decks in Journey Together in our post-rotation formats. If you're thinking, is today Friday? Well, it's actually Thursday, a day earlier than most top 10 best decks are posted. Well, it's because Journey Together is released on PTCG Live today, and I was thinking that it makes sense to have the top 10 best decks as everyone's trying to explore this new set. You have access to the best decks right now. Copy and paste these lists right into PTCG Live. Lists are available in the pinned comment, and we can just kind of start exploring the metagame. So choose whichever decks you like, and we're going to be going through all the decks, deck lists, the reasons why we're playing the decks, why they're placed, all that good stuff in this video. Sounds good? Give this video a like, share, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite decks are in the comments. Every comment does help boost the YouTube algorithm. Let's jump into our number 10 pick. At number 10 this week, we have N's Zoroark EX. It was really between this and one other deck, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but N's Zoroark EX does have some decent matchups to some decks on this list, which is why I'm putting it here. Having access to Trade Again, which we previously saw on Zoroark GX a handful of years ago, giving that opportunity to pitch a card, draw 2 cards, and copying Pokemon is something that's always been successful. So when we see cards like Regidrago V-Star, Night Joker does remind me of those kinds of strategies. We do have less cards here to copy. We can copy Galarian Darmanitan, not Galarian Darmanitan, N's Darmanitan, and N's Reshiram. Sometimes I get a little bit confused with the Pokemon. Sorry that I'm in my 30s, y'all. And it's one of those things where this just seems like a consistent way to be playing the deck. Sniping your opponent's Pokemon, getting those energies back, using the very funny haha N's PP up to get your energies back. This deck seems to have everything and all the makings of a deck. It just falls a little bit lower on the tier list than otherwise we'd want to see. But if they do release more N's Pokemon in the future, I could see N Zoroark EX kind of shaking up the metagame and really pulling its way towards the top. If you need any of the cards for these decks or any cards in general, check out our sponsors at Kayfabe Cards. They help support the Shuffle Squad, and that's where I get all of my cards from. They actually recently hooked me up with all the Eeveelution cards to build this deck right here. So that was absolutely amazing. I appreciate them for taking some stress off me as a player and helping me find some hard to get cards. If you're looking for cards, check out their store. It's linked in the description. And if you need any code cards, check out ptcgostore.com. They have instant code cards. So if you're trying to craft the decks on Journey Together day one, you can get all those code cards, plug them into PTCG Live, and then craft whatever you need. Let's jump into our number 9 pick. At number 9, we have Gardevoir EX. Now, Gardevoir EX has fallen from being one of the top decks in format. We just saw Isaiah Bradner win Stockholm Regionals with this card, but should note we lost Kirlia with Refinement. So we lost our built-in draw engine, and now we are kind of forced to go back to square one when it comes to this deck. Now, it's really carried by its Psychic Embrace ability, and we still have the same Pokemon that we can accelerate energies to, but we're also gaining things like Lily's Clefairy EX, which gives us a better answer against Raging Bolt and Dragapult, both being Dragon-type Pokemon. We did have to go for Brilliant Blender because of loss of Refinement, so this deck is, it's struggling a little bit, but it's still top 10 worthy. So I think if you're a Gardevoir believer and you've been putting in the reps with the deck, I don't think all hope is lost. I think this deck is still going to see successful, but these early builds are not necessarily carrying the hype that the original Gardevoir EX winning regionals did. So as time goes on, we'll have to update and keep close monitoring of this deck. But right now, I think it's at number 9. It's pretty fair at number 9, but let me know what you think about it. At number 8, we have Milotic EX Wallstall. This is probably a deck that people don't want to see sitting across from them if they don't have their counters. So you either have counters to Milotic, Farigiraf, and Cornerstone, or you find yourself struggling against this deck because you have no answers. And I think that's where this deck places, very similar to how Snorlax was in previous formats. You either have the outs or you don't have the outs. And a deck like this could just be like, cool, walked into a matchup, it's free, what's up? Or you're like, cool, my opponent has all the techs and they are ready to go against me. Have you ever been playing Snorlax and your opponent has like 15,000 switch cards? Same thing with Milotic. Some people are like, yep, I'm running a couple cornerstones of myself, a Tapu Koko EX, and you wanna know what? whatever it is, they're just able to get through it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where Milotic Wall Stall is. Very well positioned in the metagame. Depends on if people have counters. We're going to find out Atlanta soon enough. So let's see how this deck kind of grows in our current metagame. At number 7 this week, we have the Eeveelution Tera box deck. And this one was like, I don't know exactly where to place it, but I do think it's different enough from the regular Tera box deck. And right now, going with Flareon's early Burning Charge, doing 130 damage, accelerating energies to your other Pokemon, and then being able to do 280 ends up working out pretty well. We're able to go for our Noctowls to search out whatever we need, and our Eevees can evolve very quickly. We have that Jolteon as an answer to any Milotic, kind of how we were talking about the Milotic a second ago. And of course, Wellspring's in there for good measure. I think this is one of the more expensive cards, or one of the more expensive decks on this list. Don't even ask me about full blinging this deck out, because that is someone's rent payment for the next 3-4 months. This deck's pretty cool. I recommend picking up the cards for the Eeveelution deck before they get too expensive. But if you're not looking necessarily for them, that's okay too. It's not necessarily the best deck, but it's certainly one of the better decks in format. At number 6 this week, we have Gholdengo EX with the Dunsparce EX. And I think that the pairing here works really great. We have an answer to Cornerstone or any of these Pokemon that might be trying to stop the deck with the Dunsparce EX. And then we have the Dango package where we're able to draw cards, do damage with Make It Rain, and the deck just seemingly has everything. We got those Vengeful Punches that have been circulating around top groups to get through Pikachu EX, and a few things that we want to talk about when it comes to like winning in this format. Having an answer to Pikachu EX is pretty good because Tera Box is really popular, thanks Tord Reklev. And then we want to have an answer to Milotic or any of these other decks, and we have a lot of those built in because we're not Tera. Having answers to Cornerstone is really good, and having ways to scale your damage. Dango checks off a lot of those, so it might actually be a little bit low on this week. So we'll have to see, but I really like playing all the different energies. The Energy Surge Pro, the Vengeful Punch is hot, the Dunsparce is hot. And if you're trying to get this from Journey Together, all it's going to go is you go to your local game store, you're like, hello, can I please have one Dunsparce EX? They're like, we got you. That'll be, I don't know, maybe $1, $3, whatever. You can go to the store with $10 and come back with change, is all I'm saying. And I think that's really cool because you could take a previously existing deck and bring it to the format and be one of the best decks. A lot of the decks from the 6 on are very good. So stay tuned for more of these. These decks are about to get better and better. At number 5, we have Charizard EX with Terapagos and Noctowl, and Dusknoir and Pidgeot. We're kind of playing it all up in here. Mainly we are a Charizard deck and we need a way to function, and I decided to go from 4-4 Noctowl to a 3-3 and a 1-0-1 line of Pidgeot. Yes, this deck might struggle against Bidoof, but I could still attack Bidoof with Fan Rotom or with Terapagos, and then once I get past Bidoof, then this deck can actually set up and take off. I think there's a lot of really cool things going on with this list where we're able to invent a lot of damage, we're able to use Briar, we're able to attack with Terapagos if we need. But other than that, I think the Pidgeot EX adds a line of consistency that isn't seen in a lot of other decks. Some decks in Japan are running it, but it's not quite as common as just going with the 4-4 Noctowl. I've been playing a lot with this deck. It seems quite good, and I think that it's one of those decks where not enough people are putting respect on Charizard right now, and that's something that probably should change as we approach our Journey Together format. Let me know, are you a fan of the Zard? Are you not? Comment section's open and I'm here for a discussion. At number 4, we have Archaludon EX with the Poison package. Now, this is a deck that's been popping off in Japan, and I think it's quite fun as an Archaludon player. I'm a fan of the Dawn, you know what I'm saying? Shout out my bridges, shout out my skyscrapers. I'm a fan of architecture in this household, and Pokemon that are named Archaludon, Drowlodon, whatever. We're able to go for 220, and we're able to scale that damage with Poison with Brute Bonnet. So that's going to bring us to 230. We can use Perilous Jungle to do an additional damage counters. That's 240. We have the Binding Mochi that brings us up to 280. And then, of course, we have the damage from Kieran that allows us to go to 310, enough to knock out an Archaludon EX. This deck has answers to a lot of different things. Might not be easy to knock out a cornerstone Ogre Pawn, but we can go turn 1 into a P.E.K.K.A run and go single prize card, take a knockout. We can do a lot of really cool things when it comes to playing this deck, and it has an interesting build with double Squawkabilly and Carmine. So give this one a try. I think the Archaludon here it's here to stay, and it's seeing a lot of success in the Hot Wave Arena format in Japan as well. So I could see this deck being good for a while. So if you're looking for a good investment piece, if you're newer to the game, Archaludon EX looks like it's going to carry you for a few months at the very least. And number 3, we have Raging Bolt EX with Noctowl. You might notice a lot of decks on this list are playing Noctowl. We've lost a lot of consistency cards when it's come down to it. No more Pokestop. We got to find a way to get our stuff. Noctowl is going to keep this deck moving. I like the Slitherwing in this deck a lot more than other people who are playing Koraidon, Raging Bolt, or even Cornerstone that I featured in previous videos. This build has been absolutely working amazingly for me, and I think Raging Bolt is in one of the best positions it has been. So if you're a fan of the long neck dragon boy with the Teal Mask Ogre Pawn and all the other pieces that come with it, this is the deck for you. I think it's going to be the best aggro deck in formats, and it's the best way to play the deck right now. We lost some pieces when it came to Pokestop. Noctowl seems to be fitting in right there. I'm going to be teaching a class on this deck in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for that on my Metafy page that you can find in the description. And other than that, I think Raging Bolt, absolutely fantastic deck. Nothing else to say. Number 2 this week, the runner-up for the top 10 best deck of the week is going to be Dragapult EX with Dusknoir. So the previous number 1 deck from last format, and I think even last week, this deck is just absolutely killing it still. There's a huge debate online. Do you play Brock? Do you play Jacques? Well, I think you're playing Pokemon with just Awk in it. Isn't that the meme, the Awky way? Well, it's either the Brocky way or the Jackie way. And right now I'm doing a 2-1 split of Brock and Jacques because I like having access to Dreepies, because otherwise I think I'm going to get well-springed to smithereens. But I do like having a copy of Jacques in there when I want to grab my Dracloaks. Don't have a way to search them out, so I'm hoping that it works out. But otherwise, I'm leaning towards Brock over Jacques. But I'm sure y'all have some opinions about that as well. Other than that, I think this deck is just very good, being able to prove itself. It won Vancouver Regionals. It came second at the European International Championships, and it does not lose much to our rotation at all. It just gets better. The Blood Moon giving yourself an answer to things like Milotic, and then otherwise this deck has answers to pretty much everything else. So it's at number 2. It's not number 1. I'm sure y'all have a good guess at what number 1 is, but if you haven't put a comment in the script in the comment section yet, let me know. Would love to hear some feedback. Help boost the YouTube algorithm, y'all. It really helps out with every single video, including giving this video a like. Our last video did almost 30K views in about a week. Let's see exactly what we could do with this one. Our number 1 deck of the week is Tera Box. Thanks, Tord Reclev. In all seriousness, it's one of those things where Tord played this deck to the top 16 of the Champions League in Japan. There was 3 other players or 2 other players that played it as well. The deck popped off, and it has answers to pretty much every single thing in format, including the Milotic and all that good stuff. This is a build that I've been working on for a while. Nothing too special, nothing too crazy, but I do like having the second Psychic Energy for the Lilies, just in case I run into a Dragapult, a Raging Bolt. I want to have those answers. Has enough pieces and different attackers to keep me interested, and it's just the way that the deck is like flowing. It's a pretty standard list. I actually just taught a class on this, so you can check out my Metafy and look at the class, see exactly what's up with that. It's like $10 for the recording, and it's almost an hour and a half, 2 hours long, so really good value there. But other than that, I think that this is a deck that we're going to see a lot of. If you're not introduced to this deck, I highly recommend practicing against it, practicing it, because it is going to be one of the most played decks going forward. I think really the top 3 decks are going to be Dragapult, this, and Raging Bolt in any order in terms of play and success. So we'll have to see how the rest of the format shapes up. But this is what we got going on for our top 10. Again, pick up your cards from Kayfabe and at PTCGO store. They're the greatest places to get your codes in real life, your cards in real life, and your codes online. let me close things out. And that's what we have going on for this video today. Tomorrow I'll have some more post-rotation tabletop gameplay, and we're probably going to break into some PTCG Live videos going throughout next week, deck profiles, PTCG Live gameplay, and stuff like that. But let me know what you want to see. As always, I appreciate you all for tuning in, and I appreciate having the sponsors of this channel to make videos like this possible. Kayfabe Cards is an amazing place to buy Pokemon cards. PTCGL Store is an amazing place to buy code cards. We've got our sponsor here at Advanced GG, finished off one of their peach flavored drinks that keeps me running every single day. And of course, we have Ultimate Guard, where I keep all of my decks in their Sidewinder. So it's absolutely amazing keeping everything protected. So if you want to support the Shuffle Squad, you could always check out our description, check out those companies, whether there's a discount link or not, they all help support us. And we have our Metafy link now. We have some upcoming events with some amazing players, class including myself. So stay tuned for all that great stuff. Or you can check out my Metafy page for all of my own personal events, group class offerings, and more. I'll catch up with all y'all later. Peace out and have a great one. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG Live codes.
Tabi no hajimari wa tsune ni michi e no ippo de aru. Sore wa yami e to tsuzuku. 初めの一歩を踏み出すには勇気がいる。そして旅の終わりには旅を始めた時の自分とは別人になっているかもしれない。旅に出よう。物語の次の章がお主を待っている。将軍の道を歩め。侍の箱とともに。アルティメットガードが送る冒険の第一章。刀将軍の道近日発売。
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed the content that we have today, and maybe you'll click on one of these other videos, enjoy those videos too. If you haven't already, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments what video you want to watch next. Until next time, we'll catch up with all y'all later. Have yourself a great day.